Let's see. Mike, Connecticut, you're on the Wilkow Majority. Hello.
Hello. Hey, it just seems that every day when I listen to you, it sounds an awful lot like what you're advocating is lessening the standard of living for the most impoverished to the points where we're like India or China, where we actually literally have people starving to death in the streets. That's ultimately the goal of the Republican Party and ultimately the goal of...
Actually, that is part of the party platform. I got a fax this morning. I got an email this morning of a talking point. We're just trying to make everybody poor and miserable.
I really think you have a lot of good points a lot of times. I personally am very supportive of the idea that those of us that don't have children shouldn't pay more taxes. But it does seem an awful lot like lately it's this concept of, oh, well, the poor aren't as poor as the poor really should be in order to be considered poor. So let's make them suffer more.
Well, when you politically move the bar of what is poverty for political purposes, yeah, that's a problem. And if you think
purposes are being served by dropping the bar so low that the most impoverished find themselves even more impoverished.
Well, just do me a favor and tell me which society you think is more just than the one I've created. And I mean, outside the United States, do you think Cuba is more just? Do you think,
I think
Venezuela is more just?
1985 is more.
You mean when we had Reagan as a president?
Yeah, even with Reagan as a president, at least at that point there was more of a sense of compassion for what the lowest amongst us is experiencing.
Well, the problem with that is you're demanding that we build a society and an economic system on something that can't be counted on.
I just think that...
What do you think is more real, sir? Hold on. No, Mike, hold on. Stop it with the millionaires and billionaires. Are you really absorbing the talking points that much? Millionaires? All right, do me a favor, Mike. Before I get to my second question, define millionaire and billionaire.
Somebody whose actual earnings total over $1 million. If asking them to spend an extra 1% of their...
You're not asking them, sir. Mike, stop. This is point counterpoint. The government doesn't ask people. Okay, it dictates to people. It orders people. It makes legislation that forces people to do this or that, and if this or that isn't done, you go to jail. Stop talking for a second, Mike. The government doesn't ask millionaires to pay more money. It raises the taxes. If you don't pay them, you go to jail. There's no asking. Stop it with the asking. So somebody who earns $1 million a year to you is a millionaire. That's your definition of a millionaire.
Somebody whose net earnings total over $1 million would be qualified as a millionaire. Yes.
Is that pre-tax or post-tax?
This is pre-tax.
Okay. So what if this is the first year they've earned that, and last year when they were trying to get their business off the ground, they were broke?
I don't understand what you mean by last year they were broke and this year they have $1 million.
This is the first year that their business netted a profit. You know, the year before Mark Zuckerberg started Facebook, he was a college kid. The year afterwards, he was making over $1 million. Do you just take it all? You just take 90% of it away from it because this year he had a good year?
No, I don't think anybody is paying honestly 90% of their profits. What I'm telling you is that rather than asking for an extra 1% out of the top level of society, we're asking for the bottom level of
You're not asking, sir. There's no asking. There's either law or the absence of law. And
people are asking the government to enact the law.
Yeah, in other words, the people who aren't going to pay these taxes are asking the government. They're asking the government to take money away from someone else because they want it. Now, this is the funny thing, sir. This millionaire that you've just described is not the one that Obama's describing. The tax rates that he's talking about kick in at $250, which I'm no mathematician. The last time I checked, that was $750,000 less than $1 million.
Well, what about taxing hedge fund managers on their trades? How about that? Are they really? They're not job creators. They're not people who are actually really suffering right now.
Really?
Why don't we
hedge funds don't create describe a hedge fund for us, sir.
Describe a hedge fund?
Yes.
A hedge fund is essentially a business that's designed to buy and purchase stocks in order for the stocks to increase value so that when they make the short bets, that the short bets can pay off right before the hedge funds drop their stocks.
So when they buy these stocks, are they investing capital? Well, hold on. When stocks are sold, do companies that create jobs raise the capital through the sale of stock?
Not in today's economy.
Not in today's economy.
The hedge funds and these independent.
So none of these hedge funds are also venture capitalists. None of these hedge funds are extending capital to new businesses. None of them. They're just trading money. They're just trading paper.
To some degree, you're kind of hedging things on that.
No, I'm not hedging things on that.
Some of them are honestly helping society, and some of them are really trying to screw society. And I don't think you can deny the fact that the majority of hedge fund managers who have made millions and millions of dollars over the last 5 years could do a little bit more to help society out.
But sir, this is again, you're demanding that government run on this line of compassion. You're supposed to do things to help people out. That's not how government operates, sir. They can pass whatever laws they want. And as far as asking...
They can't because the lobbyists have purchased...
That's bull crap, sir. That's like saying, well, honey, she was a hooker and I couldn't say no.
Yeah, go ahead and identify one politician who isn't in the pocket of a lobbyist.
Well,
One.
That includes Obama, sir. That includes Obama.
It does include Obama. All sides are corrupt in the system, and that's why the people...
That's why we need Marxism, sir. That's why we need communism. We need top-down communism led by a guy like you. Thank you very much for the call. That's why we need Marxism. There'll be no corruption in Marxism. Everybody will be treated equally, just like in Cuba. There'll be no aristocracy. There'll be no political class. Nobody will have more than anybody else. If we just installed Marxism in the United States, nobody would have two while somebody else had none. Everything will be spread out. And it'll be even. And it'll be fair. It'll be great. You know what the funny thing is? People like Mike from Connecticut think it's fundamentally fair to ask somebody to continue to pay more while others pay none and get more. That's the balanced approach. Barack Obama's balanced approach has the scale tipped to one side, so much so to the point that it's flipped over and fallen off the table. 1-866-95-PATRIOT. We're right, they're wrong. That's the end of the story. Whether or not you like it, capitalism is boss. Sirius XM Patriot.